Hey, Chris Lipe here. I figured it was about time to do a video on Josh Kiszka from Greta Van Fleet. Talk about an extremely developed and diverse mixed voice. The guy's got a high voice in general, but the way he has developed it, the way he implements it, yes, he nods to Robert Plant, but he's done some things that Robert Plant kind of planted the seeds for, and Josh has taken it to a really interesting level. And the way he's able to growl sort of up in his high mixed voice, and also how it connects with his chest voice. It's pretty compelling and interesting to study. So I'm excited to get into this one with you. We're going to be going through a compilation of Josh's best live vocals. I think that this guy's really important to analyze live because you get to see his body language. And I think a lot of singers are really important to analyze live because you don't get to hide behind production. You get to see them. You get to hear what they did in that moment, on that take. You don't. There aren't doubles that are clouding or lots of effects or arranging things, which are really fun to unpack too. And I've done that a lot on this channel when I go through isolated vocals and all that. But when we're particularly talking about mixed voice, we're talking about Josh's approach to mixed voice, and we want to put some of that in our own voices. I think observing live and seeing his humanity and putting that in our own positions, it's really helpful. If you'd like more help with this kind of approach, click the link below and join my free voice course. I can help you develop the fundamentals that are going to help you discover how to implement a mixed voice like this. I've done a lot of this on the channel, and many of you have chosen to join me with my free course so that you can unlock things you're already doing in your speech level engagement, normal speaking voice. You can take that stuff, put it into your singing, and experience amazing results. Let's get in to this crazy, high, developed mixed voice singing. Okay, the key here is in how he says mama. Let's start with that. Mama! Very crowish. This is something that Robert Plant would do. This is something that Freddie Mercury would do. If you listen to that beginning, the oh, mama. Hear how he changes the placement around? We'll get into the mixed aspects of what he does in a little bit, but keep this in mind. This being able to move the resonance backward to resonate around his soft palate and back of tongue gives him a nice ending to this line. This is not just, oh, mama, which sounds okay, but that's not the vibe. That's not the area that he's going for. He wants that classic rock, he's nodding to the classic rock stars. He does a lot of these kinds of things where he kind of chants and scats. Let's go back and let's break down what he's doing from a mixed voice perspective. Okay, so let's get the pitch first. We're going to get in head voice. Then we're going to push harder with our head voice. We're going to compress. We're going to feel the urge to lower the pitch. The more we push, the lower the pitch wants to go. But we're going to decide that we'd rather our voice crack than lower the pitch. And to trigger what I've talked about in other videos, this dying cat sound, we're going to maintain pitch, push up, let our voice crack. And then as we feel our voice cracking, we're going to lean into it even more. This is going to create that sort of buzzy sound that he gets there. I know I'm making it a little bit more simple, or maybe look a little bit more simple than it actually is, but this is how it starts. Start by getting a good solid head voice tone. Maybe don't even necessarily go for the tone or the note that he's getting. Think compression, think holding back air, push harder and harder while you hold back more air with the area above your larynx. Let your voice crack and then lean into that while trying to maintain that head voice pitch. It's going to be so messy for you. But if you can find that area to lean in where you're breaking and holding the pitch at the same time, it's there in every voice, but you have to hone it. That's how he gets that neat buzzy sound. Let's listen again. Now, he can clean things up really well, too. Listen to what he does. So he's got both things going on, where he's able to grit it up. And I'm telling you, your vocal break is everything here. Get your head voice, find where that vocal break is, and lean into it. Like so many other aggressive and distorted, weird forms of singing, this is another implementation of what I've talked about a lot on the channel. The clean sounds, if we can harness the same sorts of things in our speech level, like if we say something like, I'm going to kill you. And we let our voice, we let our speech be extra dynamic. We're not saying, I'm going to kill you, all in our chest voice, all in one area. We're saying, I'm going to kill you. We're not going for any particular pitches. We're feeling out that other sort of imitative resonance that's happening with Josh's vocals. Dying cat. That's not head voice. It's not chest voice. It's something in between. We're unlocking lots of nasality. We're putting the resonance towards the back of our tongue and soft palate. While we keep focusing on the front of our face. There's a lot to think about. But as we experiment with our normal speaking voice and let ourselves be rangy and try to say all sorts of different things, we're going to unlock the sensation before we try to go to pitch. That's what's going to help you get there. I love this because you can hear him climb up. Hey, 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 hey. Play with the tonality, just like he's doing. Now that last note, he was using pure head voice there. But because you heard him go up, build with his chest, and gradually thin out, he was able to sort of get away with that. Good stuff.
When you come around, won't you come around? Baby, when you walk this way, you break your talk this way, you drive me crazy.
Okay. Oh, mama. Hear how he's doing that sort of yarled sound? Hey, mama, what you call me crazy? And then as he goes up, he's got that thinner, crazy. He's very, very conscious of how his resonance is moving around. He didn't try to go, hey, mama, won't you call me crazy? right? A lot of us would sort of sink into one sound, like, which voice should I use for this song? What kind of tone do I want for this song? He's all over the place, and that's what makes what he does so compelling. He just went from early 90s, hey, yeah, oh, yeah, to, hey, yeah, oh, no, honk. He's doing all three of those things in this one line. Multiple times in that section, he's in that gritty mix that we talked about earlier, and then he goes up into his head voice. Hey, you still walked out on me. Yeah. Really fun to experiment with releasing into your head voice. Hey. Yeah. Notice how clean he is there after his buzzy sound. That one sounded extra quacky. Yeah! Now, that's very nasal. Yeah! There's also the difference between this, yeah, and yeah! He's getting his epiglottis a bit more involved there. There's this sense of, That's a little bit different placement. In this case, because his vocal cords, he's thinned his vocal cords out, he's using his high head voice resonance, there's this opportunity to run your placement a little bit different, a little bit lower. Almost like as if you're imitating, okay, kind of a Cookie Monster kind of sound, but you're doing it high and you're not blowing enough air through that it's going to start feeling weird or choky. Yeah! As opposed to, yeah! Hear the difference? He uses both, but in this case, nasal. This is really a kind of a tortured crow sound. The placement is different. We've got, yeah! That's more your typical rock sounding compression. And then we've got, yeah! Which doesn't actually sound that great lower, but you start pushing it up higher into your head voice area, and it's both easier on your voice and creates that nice buzz. Yeah! And you can even transition between the two like he does a lot. Yeah! Cool sounds. I'd just like to point out again how he's not all gritty all the time. He's got that those moments of buzzing, he's got moments of rasp, he's got yarling, he's got very clean high mixed notes. So much diversity in his lines. Perfect case in point there. He's got that delay that comes in live to shroud his clean vocals, and then he's coming down. And intentionally darkening things and bringing his resonance back even more. Because this particular one, he's not going, it's, yeah! Very forward and open, not nasal here, and very clean. And then as he gets lower, he brings his resonance back, darkens it, swallows it a bit. The opposite of what we kind of want to do when we try to sing high. Sometimes we will naturally try to push higher and swallow as we go higher. This is proof that that doesn't work very well. And he's doing the opposite, which is what allows him to soar and calculatedly go down. Notice that sound. So incredibly nasal. Whereas when I plug my nose, it's almost all there. Yeah, his mouth is shaping the tone a little bit, and there's a little bit going through there. Don't be afraid of nasality. It's a huge tool.
You are my sunshine.
You are my sunshine. I just like to point out how vastly different this sound is than the last sound, where he's not nasal. Both are great. It's not like should I or shouldn't I. It's yes. Experiment with all those things. You know how relaxed he looks doing this? He's practiced a lot. He's so comfortable in his own skin and moving around with all those different techniques. But not afraid to really be open with his face either. Yeah! Stick your tongue out. Open up. Get things out of the way. Let that resonance come forward. When was the last time you thought it was appropriate to sing like this? Whoa, 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 whoa. If you can make a fool out of yourself and really become a cartoon character when you're speaking and expressing yourself in non-musical ways, if you can do this and then bring some of it into your singing, whoa, 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 it's going to be way easier. If you're really reserved like this when you're speaking and you're afraid to get out of your shell, there's no way you're going to be able to be this expressive. Thanks so much for digging in with me to some Greta Van Fleet. It's about time. Lots of you have been asking for this. Remember, the key to his vocals, and lots of vocalists like him, isn't necessarily that he's just got a high range. It's how he's figured out how to listen to his body, how to take advantage of things that all of us can really do, being comfortable enough to experiment in a speech level way and be kind of crazy, and then work that stuff into your musical voice. I know that I'm going to get some comments that are going to say, no, he's just got, nobody can sing like that. You either have it or you don't. I don't subscribe to that. It might be true, but I don't subscribe to it because I found with my voice that if I'm willing to go out on limbs and experiment based on sounds that I hear, and I'm able to be stupid with it and not do what they're doing, but try to sort of do it and see what happens with my own voice, I free all sorts of things and unlock all sorts of things in my own voice that I never would have otherwise. So I encourage you, take this perspective. Even if you do things wrong and you're doing things in little increments and really listening to your body and how things feel, you're still going to come out on top because you're willing to experiment and you're not sitting behind the self-conscious facade. That's the main thing that makes vocalists like this tick. That's the main thing that's going to help you learn and grow as a vocalist. We'll see you for more.